Pirates are often pictured with eye patches, wooden legs, and hooks for hands. But where did these images come from? And how accurate were they? Were these injuries a devastating end to a pirate's dangerous career? Or could they become a strange badge of resilience upon the high seas? Popular imagery suggests swashbucklers carried on as though nothing had changed, yet the reality of losing an eye or a leg in the 17th and 18th centuries was far more complex and often far more brutal. To understand what truly happened when a pirate suffered such a wound, we need to step into the violent and uncertain world of the so-called Golden Age of Piracy. The Golden Age of Piracy unfolded between the late 1600s and early 1700s, when lawless crews terrorized trade routes across the Atlantic and Caribbean. Pirates lived lives of extreme risk, with battles at sea, duels on deck, and dangerous boarding actions bringing them into constant peril. Ships were crowded, sanitation was poor, and medical knowledge was limited. Injuries were common, illnesses spread quickly, and death by infection claimed more lives than cannon fire. When bones shattered or flesh tore, pirates found themselves relying on crude medicine and sheer willpower to survive. Pirates faced many ways to lose an eye or a leg. A single musket ball or splinter from an exploding cannon could rip through an arm or pierce the face. In close combat, cutlasses and boarding axes left brutal wounds. Even accidents during daily work on a ship's deck could cost a man dearly, with heavy rigging or falls from the masts breaking bones that later demanded amputation. Unlike heroic tales of clean duels, the reality was ugly and chaotic. A lost limb or blinded eye usually came suddenly and violently, leaving little time for careful preparation. Medical treatment at sea was extremely limited. Some larger vessels carried a surgeon, but many pirate crews did not. Surgeons of the era relied on amputation for badly damaged limbs, using basic saws and knives, sometimes heated to cauterize wounds. There was little to no anesthesia. Alcohol or a cloth to bite down on provided the only pain relief. Without antiseptics or antibiotics, infections were a constant threat. In many cases, losing a limb was not just the result of injury, but also a desperate attempt to prevent death from spreading infection. Surviving the amputation of a leg or arm required strong constitution and luck. Some pirates recovered and learned to adapt, while others succumbed to infection within days. Historians believe that pirates had slightly higher chances of survival than merchant sailors, because their crews sometimes shared wealth more equally and provided supportive care, offering food and rest while the wounded healed. Still, the scars and disabilities left behind were permanent reminders of the dangers of life at sea. A man with a wooden leg would never climb rigging again, but he might still serve as a fierce gunner on the deck. The enduring image of wooden legs and hooks did not arise entirely from fiction. Evidence tells us that some pirates did craft crude prosthetics from wood, metal, or leather straps. A missing leg might be replaced with a simple peg that allowed the sailor to hobble, while a handless arm might be fitted with a hook to help grip rope or weapons. As for eye patches, historians debate whether pirates wore them simply to cover disfigurement or to maintain night vision when moving between bright sunlight above deck and darkness below. These prosthetics were not common luxuries, but were practical tools born from necessity. Not every injury meant the end of service at sea. Pirates valued bravery and toughness, and a disfigured body could enhance a man's fearsome reputation. A pirate missing an eye might become a shipboard gunner, no longer suited for climbing but still deadly with cannons. A wooden-legged veteran could guard prisoners or command in battle. Ships were tight communities where loyalty mattered, and an injured pirate often remained valued if he carried out his duties. Sometimes, scars and missing limbs even earned respect, marking a pirate as a survivor who had faced violence and lived to tell the tale. Over time, The image of the pirate with lost eyes or limbs became a symbol of terror. A scarred face or a hook in place of a hand served as silent proof that this was a man who had fought through unimaginable pain. Enemies might see such injuries as signs of ruthlessness. Crewmates sometimes admired them as evidence of experience. The injured pirate embodied both the brutality and the resilience of the outlaw life. While many sailors died from similar wounds, those who survived and adapted became larger-than-life figures within pirate lore. Several famous pirates were remembered for their crippling injuries. François Leclerc, a French buccaneer of the 1500s, was known as Peg Leg for his wooden limb and remained feared across the Atlantic. Later, stories of men like Black Bart Roberts included references to injuries that left lasting marks, even if not outright amputations. Such figures helped shape the myth of the disfigured pirate leader, a man who would not be stopped by even the most devastating of wounds. Their notoriety gave rise to many of the legends that survive in popular culture today. While stories of wooden legs, hooks, and patches fascinated later generations, historians believe that not every pirate adopted such prosthetics. In many cases, a grievous injury meant death rather than adaptation, but the few survivors inspired tales that spread widely through portside gossip, literature, and eventually theater and popular novels. Over time, the image of the maimed but unbroken pirate became a fixture of seafaring lore, an exaggeration of scattered truths transformed into timeless symbols. Today, historians conclude that when pirates lost an eye or a leg, the outcomes varied dramatically. Some died quickly from infection, some struggled with permanent crippling limitations, and some carved out new roles aboard their ships. While prosthetics were often crude and uncomfortable, they did exist and helped injured pirates maintain usefulness in their dangerous trade. More importantly, the reputation of a hardened survivor could be as valuable as physical abilities, allowing a pirate to remain influential even after severe loss. When we think of pirates, the familiar images of wooden legs, eye patches, and hooks reflect more than just cliches. They reveal the harsh realities of life at sea during the Golden Age of Piracy, where violence and disease claimed countless lives, but where survival in the face of terrible injury could transform a man into a living legend. Some wounds ended careers, others ended lives, but the stories of those who carried on despite blindness or amputation became woven into the very mythology of piracy. These enduring images remind us of the gritty resilience that defined an age of ruthless adventurers on the oceans.